Newton Leroy, Newt Gingrich is
Yeah,
our guest. Welcome, sir.
I'm here. How are you?
I'm good. Are you in Houston yet?
No, we're coming tomorrow. I'm in Des Moines for the Reagan dinner of the Iowa Republican Party.
Well, thanks for being with us. You and Herman Cain will engage in a Lincoln-Douglas debate tomorrow night without the other contenders. I have maintained that you're the winner out of that because Cain is the front runner, and it's just you and him, and you clear the field. You can actually talk about the issues.
Well, I think Herman's the winner, but I think the American people are the winner. I mean, this is a chance for two adults to have a dialogue. It's not going to be some baloney debate trying to score points. I'm not going to reach over and put my hand on Herman's shoulder. We're not going to be, doing whatever consultants told us to do. We're going to talk about some very big deals: Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. What do we do about the entitlements? You got a guy who's been a very successful business CEO and who has very big ideas like 999, and you have somebody who, as Speaker of the House, reformed a major entitlement, welfare, with 2 out of 3 people going to work or going to school, and balanced the budget for 4 consecutive years for the only time in your lifetime. And so the two of us, I'm looking forward to it. Frankly, as a citizen, I'm curious what the dynamic is going to be like. And Herman and I like each other. And we both, I think, go into this thinking this will be really interesting.
Well, I think it will be interesting, and I tell you what, I'm going to post the information at michaelberry.com here in just a moment for anyone who wants to go out there. Still seats available. Mr. Speaker, we got to you late in the segment, so if you can hold with me for a moment.
I'm sure I'll hold over.
All right, and we'll talk to Speaker Newt Gingrich with your questions coming up. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich will be in Houston tomorrow for a Lincoln-Douglas-style debate, which is a great debate format, with Herman Cain. Speaker Gingrich, the big news story of the week, whether it should have been or not, involved Herman Cain and sexual harassment allegations. You've referred to that as a witch hunt against Herman Cain. Does the public need to know, and do you believe the public cares about a presidential candidate's personal life and any potential scandals?
Sure. Of course they do. And of course the public has a right to know. I just raised the point that you had an entire story built around anonymous accusations by anonymous people involving anonymous activities. And for the news media to say that is worth looking into is one thing. For them to then turn that into the kind of circus it's become. I mean, just think about the total lack of information involved in what I just described to you. I look at that and I compare that to the total silence about Barack Obama's ties to Bill Ayers, who was a revolutionary who served time in jail, about whom Obama lied, and saying, he was sort of a neighbor. Well, he wasn't sort of a neighbor. He was a mentor. He hosted Obama's first campaign event. They served together in a foundation that gave away millions of dollars. And a lot of Obama's radicalism can be tied directly to Bill Ayers' radicalism. So I just find it interesting, the double standard of the elite media in who they feel excited by and who they want to investigate and who they manage to avoid.
Well, in 50 stories about Clinton, 50 stories according to Brent Bozell this week on Cain, and one network reference to the Paula Jones case the day that broke. Is an interesting dichotomy. But the public, not just the media, but the public really sinks their teeth into sex scandals. And you had, whether you want to call them sex scandals or not, you had issues in the 90s. If you're the nominee, the Democrats are going to hit you with that. How do you respond to that?
You respond to it by being honest and being candid with people. And you tell them that there were things in the past that you feel bad about and that you wish had not happened. But you also ask them to look at being a grandfather, 68 years old, very happily married, with very close ties to my daughters and my grandchildren. And people have to render judgment.
Herman Cain made a statement. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich is our guest. Candidate Herman Cain made a statement about electrifying a fence, which he said was a joke. But building a fence is a big issue, particularly in Texas and in the South. As President of the United States, should we and would you build a fence with Mexico? Do you favor amnesty, and how do you deal with the illegal immigration problem?
Well, first of all, if you go to newt.org, my first name.org, you'll see a 21st Century Contract with America. one of the items in that contract is to complete a fence by January 1 of 2014. I will propose a bill that waives all the various environmental impact statements and all the other things and just says, build the fence, get it done. There's no question we can get it built. There are 23,000 Department of Homeland Security employees in the Washington, D.C. area. I would move about half of them to Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona to provide the extra manpower. And we have an absolute national security obligation to control our border. That should be beyond dispute. It should be clear and obvious to everybody. Second, I would make English the official language of government. Third, I believe that every first-generation immigrant to become an American citizen should learn American history, but then, frankly, so should our own children. I think American history is the key to becoming an American in culture. Fourth, I am for a guest worker program, and I would outsource it to American Express, Visa, or MasterCard, or IBM so that it was technically accurate and you had anti-fraud mechanisms that worked. And I'd have very steep penalties for employers who hired anybody illegally once you had a legal program. That in itself would reduce substantially the number of people who are here illegally. I would also modify the visa rules so that if you were coming here for good, sound legal reasons, whether as a business person, a student, to visit your family, or to be a tourist, it should be easy and inexpensive to get an American visa. On the other hand, I'd also modify our deportation laws. So if you're a member of a gang or you are a felon, we can get you out of here very, very fast. Finally, I think we need something like a World War II style selective service board in communities to look at people. If you're recently here, you're a day laborer, you have no real ties, we should ask you to go home immediately. But if you've been here 20 or 25 years, you've been paying taxes, you're married, have 2 or 3 kids, a couple of grandkids, you belong to a local church, I don't think the American people are going to round up folks and ship them out. I think those folks we need to have. The Kriebel Foundation has proposed what they call the red card model, where you become legal, but you do not have a path to citizenship. You pay a steep fine for having come here illegally, but we recognize that you do have ties and you do have roots, and you're part of our society. And I think some kind of balanced approach like that has to be done. And no amnesty, and I think that people who are here illegally should not have a path to citizenship that puts them in any way ahead of people who've been patiently waiting their time and obeying the law.
But when you say there's no amnesty, Speaker Gingrich, but you're allowing these people to live here without threat of deportation who came here illegally. I mean, President Reagan did this in '86, and you know this very well, when we had 1 million amnesty applicants or 1 million amnesties granted, and look at where we are today, between 12 and 20 million. Don't you say to those waiting, it's better to break the law and get here because the Americans will eventually let you stay?
Well, if you go back and read President Reagan's diary, and I voted for the bill that he signed, he said he did it for 2 purposes: to get control of the border, which I've just told you I would have by January 1 of 2014, and to have a genuine guest worker program with real penalties for employers. Both of those were broken. The Congress did not keep their word. They didn't do what they said they would, and I think that's the key to it. Again, I think I am for anybody who does not have deep roots being sent home. I just think you're going to find it very, very hard as a practical matter and as a humane matter to go around Houston and rip people out of local communities who've been there, who are married to an American, have 3 or 4 kids, and break up the family and deport them. Maybe you think you can do it. I think that is a very unlikely thing to happen, and I don't think we ought to base our public policy on things that can't be enacted.
Speaker Gingrich, 2 minutes left. I wanted to ask you, the number one question I got from listeners was, where does he stand on global warming? One fellow writing, and I quote, "There's not a dime's worth of difference between Newt Gingrich and President Obama on global warming." I think a lot of people are concerned that your comments on...
That's just factually false. President Obama was for cap and trade. I testified against cap and trade. I helped defeat cap and trade in the Senate. I led an active campaign against cap and trade. We have a very different view of the environment. President Obama wants an environmental protection agency that is frankly ruining this country's economy. I would abolish the agency and replace it with an environmental solutions agency that has a requirement to take into account economic reality, to use common sense, and to cooperate and collaborate with local governments, not just to run over them and dictate to them. I mean, there are very substantial differences between the Barack Obama view of these things and where I stand. He is against the use of coal. He is against American petroleum. I am for drilling offshore. I am for the use of coal. Those are fundamentally different views.
I have about 30 seconds left, but if you could wrap up why folks should vote for Newt Gingrich for president.
Well, if you think we got to get America back on the right track and you think that's a big job, I am the only candidate in the race who has successfully balanced the budget for 4 straight years. I'm the only candidate in the race who helped bring unemployment down from 5.6 to 4.2%. We created 11 million jobs during the 4 years I was Speaker. I'm the only candidate in the race to pass a major entitlement reform. I think
if you dropped out of the race tomorrow, who would you vote for?
I don't intend to drop out of the race tomorrow.
Speaker Newt Gingrich, thanks for being our guest.